Good afternoon, guys. Today is the first day that marks our Cultural Diversity Week. We founded Global Shepherd Students as a way to learn and as a way to share our cultures around the globe, as a way for us to share who we are with the community of Shepherd University, Shepherdstown, and everyone in general. Today is our first day. March 19th is MENA Day, the Middle East and North Africa. It is with a great honor as the acting director of the Faculty of Social Sciences and assistant dean of student affairs. He is currently in a sabbatical for the Department of Social Work, researching social policy in the United States to determine what might be applied in Kuwait as it develops its next generation of national social policy. He's been formerly contributed to Cultural Counselor Embassy of Kuwait, Ministry of Social Affairs and Labor, Ministry of Justice, and Ministry of Education. While living in the United States, he's living in Reston, Virginia, with his wife, Fatima Aladawi, and daughter, Galia. Without any further ado, I introduce to you Dr. Al-Dhafiri.
Thank you so much. This is you. Okay. Today this is a very informal meeting. Forget about my tie. It's just a decoration today. But this is exchange information with a different world. And first, I would like to thank Shepherd University for hosting me during my sabbatical leave, and special thanks for the Faculty of Department of Social Work, and as well as for the Office of International Students Office in the university. And today we are gathering to open a small window through which we can see the other side of the world. We will fly 12,000 miles away from your home to take a look into a Middle East area, and also particularly to the Arabian Gulf, and then to Kuwait. We want to see how people live, what are the similarities and the difference between us down here and the people over there, different culture, probably different belief, different language. Let us see this difference between this area and that area, and see how people live. And that's why we design this informal, I don't want to call it lecture, this is not a lecture, this is informal meeting, as all cultural meetings. We divided to 3 sections. One section is going to talk about information about Kuwait, just to give you an idea. Then after that, we will see some pictures of life aspects and activities in Kuwait. And finally, we are going to show a documentary, small film about Kuwait. This is produced by Kuwait Airways. And we will have some chance later on to address your questions, if you have. And what we want to just to relax, lay back, and enjoy the ride down here. I'm supposed to have this is small thing. Let me see how it works. And this is the pointer. Ah, that's good. Well, this is the simple logo of Kuwait. Wherever you go in Kuwait, you will see this logo. Okay. And as you see, this is the map of Kuwait. And we have to it's work now, yes. Sorry about that. If you see, this is the small map about Kuwait. And you see in the north side is the Iraqi border. And from the north and west, we have Saudi Arabia. And from the east side, we have the Gulf area and the Iranian border. And as you see, this is the capital city of Kuwait. It's Kuwait also. So it's easy to remember Kuwait, and the capital city is Kuwait. At the same time, look at the area, how small. We're talking about less than 7,000 miles square. This is the whole land down here, which is probably the size of Long Island, New Jersey, probably about this size. These are some facts about Kuwait. We gained independence from the British in the 1961. And it was last month, in February 25th. But we couldn't make this presentation at that time because we were busy in some other activities and you were busy in your exams. So that wasn't a good time at that to present that. The oil represents 90% of the country's GDP. So the whole country depends on the oil. We will discuss these things later on, see how this affects the people's life. The population of Kuwait, the whole population, according to the last census we have, it was 4.25 million people. But what surprisingly see is the 75 are foreign. So 75% of the population over there are non-Kuwaitis. Those are the people who move from other countries to work in Kuwait. We have European, we have Asian, mainly from Asia and from the areas around Iraq, Saudi Arabia, Middle East, Egypt. We have from North Africa, also a lot of people. They come to Kuwait. We have today in Kuwait 132 nationalities work in Kuwait. The Kuwaiti population is like 1 million something. That's the whole population. That are the Kuwaiti people. So all what we are going to talk about later on, it's affect the Kuwaiti only, the 1 million something, not the 4 million, because as we said, we are minority in our country, if that makes sense. Huh? One of the big problems in the desert area is the water. So the only solution they found is depend on the seawater desalinations. It's a huge machine to produce enough water to feed the 4 or 5 million we have in the country. It is a big problem. You don't feel it down here because you have a lot of rain and you have a lot of sources for the water. But over there, it's considered one of the big problems. Okay. This is something interesting to you. This is something you like. There is no tax in Kuwait. Null. I mean null. Whatever you want to do, how much money you make it for yourself. You don't pay tax. And you know the reason why. Because they have enough oil to feed their budget. So there is no need to collect money from people, okay? By the way, this is a good thing, but later on, probably if you have a chance to attend my lecture in the social policy, you will see this is going to be a big problem. I don't agree with everything down here. I don't myself agree with the idea of having no tax. It's not good for the people. But this is later on. Enjoy what you have now. Well, The good things that the government, they ensure education, health, and housing. Housing, education, health are free in Kuwait for everybody. Except housing, you have to wait sometimes. Today, it takes like about more than 10 years until they give you the land and the money to build your house. But during this period, they pay for your rent. Sound nice? Somebody pay for your rent. You have health insurance. You have education. You have education to all levels from KG all the way to PhD, if you wish, if you are a good student. They will pay for that. Okay? Oh, this is something important, and we are proud of. Religious freedom is guaranteed. And by the way, we have Kuwaiti Christian. This one you won't see in the Gulf area. You will see it in the Middle East. They have them like in Egypt, in Syria, in Iraq, in some other areas. They do have Christian. But in the Gulf area, I think Kuwait is the only country they have Kuwaiti Christian. And we have 5 good big churches. One of them has like a small event every year, like a basilica. So you can go and visit anytime, and very beautiful location also in Kuwait. Freedom of press, publication is also guaranteed by law. This is important because you won't see that much in the Middle East. They might say it, but when it comes to reality, they will prevent you from publishing whatever you want, especially the academic people. They know what I'm talking about. The state, now look at these categories. They provide salaries for these people. Retirement, of course, you have retirement down, same system. For the sickness, if you are sick, not they pay for the treatment, but also they pay if you paralyze and you cannot go to work or something prevent you from doing your job. Still the government pay for you something. Unemployment, we pay them. Divorce, but we pay ladies. We don't pay men because the men who created the problem. So they have to pay the price, but we pay for the ladies, okay? Some people, they may call it discrimination, but this is truth, okay? And disables and the orphans, of course, you know all of these categories. You as a social workers, you know these categories. Okay. Well, this is where the capita income is one of the highest in the world in the last 10 years. This could be a good point or could be also a bad point. But I will keep it for the social policy. When I present the 3 theories about policies, we will discuss these things and what does it mean and how it affects people. And to me, it looks nice, but on the other side, it doesn't help people to develop themselves very well. The parliament give women full political right. This is the same what you have down here. Women now are moving all over the place in Kuwait. You cannot talk to them, cannot come close to them very, 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 very much. You have to be very careful when you deal with them. Okay, the best time to visit Kuwait is between November and April, and you know that why. The weather can be real hot after April. I mean, easily we reach 100, 110. That's easy in Kuwait. So that's why you move with air conditioning. Yes, your car, your office, your house, and supermarket, everything has to be with air conditioning. Without it, You have to cover yourself to move from place to place. It's very hot. This is a good invitation for you guys. You don't need any visa. You pick up your visa from the airport if you are American. But I'm struggling in your country down here. I have to pick up my visa, and they give me a certain time and certain days how long I'm going to stay in the United States. But look what we do for you guys. It's free over there. Okay, this is some information just to give us a small picture about the life in Kuwait. Now, I started some picture, but I started with the old flag and the new flag. After the 1961, after the independence from the British, they changed the flag. I'm old-fashioned. I'm still like the old one. But we have to deal with the new flag now. This is the Kuwaiti currency. As you see, each Kuwaiti dinar equal to $3.4, and sometimes it reach 3.6, depending on the season. Okay, this doesn't mean that our currency better than yours. No, this is just exchange. It has nothing to do with that. How do you like that? This is wedding down here, and this is some of the traditional dress, like my wife today is wearing one of them. What you see down here, this guy, he's wearing, they call it bisht, or veil. We use it only for formal occasions, like for wedding, for a formal visit or something. But normally, you don't see this in the street. These are some of the traditional crafts. If you go to the museum today, you will see these things. Doesn't exist anymore. Nobody do these things now. This is the carpenter. And I don't know what this guy is doing. He's like building some pots or something, using the copper at that time. This is the Emir Palace. His office is there. The president of Kuwait's office is in this building. This one, it's built in 1934 by the British at that time. And still, until today, we have it. They renew it every time and do some decoration to it, but still as a location and as space, it's the same. This is the water tower. I told you how water is important for the Kuwaitis. So these towers, you will see, this towers, by the way, it's a walking distance from your embassy in Kuwait, and where I live also. It's in our neighborhood, this one. So this is a storage area, a storage water for the neighborhood. This is the Kuwaiti tower. This is the symbol of Kuwait. Yeah. Wherever you go, you see a lot of picture about Kuwait. You will see this tower. And they have a very fancy, nice restaurants in the top over there. It takes you around so you can see all Kuwait in like less than 20 minutes. Oh, this is something interesting. This is the cultural center. And this is one of the most beautiful area today in Kuwait. If you have a chance to go to Kuwait, you have to visit this center. It's beautiful. And what's interesting also, it's made of titanium. You know how the titanium is a very valuable material. So they design it in a way, it's a very modern design. Also, it's a very expensive material also. They want it to last for a little bit longer. This is inside that building, and you see this, this is the Arabian handwriting. You have to see this inside And this is the inside. There is a big theater over there. And this is the National Assembly in Kuwait. This is inside. This picture for Safa Al-Hashim is chosen by my wife. She wanted to present the ladies who is working in the parliament. But I don't mind. And today she's the only one. They started with like 3 ladies, 7, 8 years back, and now we have only one. She's the only one in the parliament now. For some reason, they don't vote for ladies. I don't know what's... this is the Grand Mosque. You know, each country in the Middle East, they have something like the basilica you have somewhere. It's exactly the same. So most of the occasions, the official occasions, they go to this area. But if you go inside it, you will see a lot of architects' work over there. It's a beautiful design from inside, outside. And as you see, they always keep the outside is very simple. This is because of the heat. So they want to protect everything. So everything you go, even the houses back home, you have to look at from inside. Don't look at it from outside. Well, this is some of the universities, like this one, Kuwait University. And this is the first private sector university. This is the AUK, American University in Kuwait. This is the first private university down here. And this is the Australian. We have the British, and we have 6. We have 6 private sector university, and we have just 1 Kuwait university, but they have 6 campuses. And now they are going to open a huge one for Kuwait University and Shadadiya. This is going to be something different. That's what they said. Okay. A museum. A museum, this is one of the old arts. If you have noticed down here, this design, you see it also with the Indians. The Indians also, because we inherited this from India. A lot of these wooden doors, because we don't have wood, definitely, in this desert. So they import the wood, and the crafting of that wood has come from India. This is the wooden ship down here in the museum, the Marine Museum. And by the way, this lady, my wife, she was the designer of this museum, right, Fatma?
Yes, I'm one of the group.
One of the group, yes. But you did a great job, honestly. Yes, this wooden ship, they used to travel with these ships from Kuwait all the way to India. They travel with this wooden ship. As you recall, Kuwait originally is a pearl divers. They were very poor, this very poor area before the discovery of oil. And this is talking about the 20s, 30s, 40s, and stopped in the 50s, even before the oil. But because it was too difficult, honestly, for pearl divers, they could lose their life easily. This is the scientific center. This is one of the things you need to visit in Kuwait. It's beautiful. From outside, inside. This is close to the ocean. So the area also, it's beautiful to visit. This is inside that scientific center. They kept some of the original wooden ship. So you can go inside it and see how people, they used to live inside these ships. Also, the scientific center, it has one of the biggest aquarium, from what I recall, in the Middle East. I don't know about the world. Probably they have something bigger. But it's huge. It's a huge aquarium. You can spend the whole day just visiting this scientific center. This is, they call it Dar al-Athar al-Islamiyya. Dar al-Athar Islamiyya, they collect all the Islamic and heritage, they put it in like in one museum. So the people enjoy history of Islam in that area. This is some of the things that you can see inside the museum. So also belong there. This is interesting. This is modern art museum. They tried to protect the old houses, the Kuwaiti houses. Like I remember when I was a kid, this is the design of my house. This is exactly. And why is that? Probably for the social worker, this is important. These are the rooms down here, around the edge. And in the middle, they put like a empty area. So all the kids play in this area. We are not allowed to go outside. So everybody watching the kids. They call it like, it's a social gathering area at the same time. Today, people are complaining a lot about the new building because it's cut the relationship between people. You might spend the whole day in your office and you don't have a chance to meet your colleague. This was just the opposite. It's just everybody can see everybody, especially the kids, so everybody watching the kids. But these are very nice, beautiful area and design. And if you have noticed, all the ceiling are wood, because at that time they don't have concrete. But they did some concrete over there just to protect it, for protection. But they kept the old design as it is. So people, they come and enjoy the old design. This is the modern art. And if you have noticed that there is an anger with that modern. And this is because of the invasion of Iraq to Kuwait in 1991. They occupied the Iraqi. Remember the map? They were in the north. They moved their troops all the way to Kuwait, and they occupied the area for 8 months. 33 countries, led by United States, they come to push the Iraqis away. And that's why we have a great relationship with the American. They still, people think that the American help Kuwaitis to get their country back. It's important for them. These are part of the modern also. They still celebrate and do things. People in the Middle East, they love to celebrate. They do two things. They love to celebrate and they love food also. Yeah, it makes sense, right? Food and... Okay. This is very interesting. This is Al-Mubarakiyya School. This is one of the fairest school in Kuwait. They redesigned it many times, but still they have this one of the oldest. This is the beginning of education. Today, it's a museum for education. So if you go there, you see the history of education in Kuwait, even though it's short, but still we have a museum for that. These are some of the things over there. Inside, you see the pioneers in education over there. You see even the tools. This is the center, the Cultural Center Museum. This is a new. They opened it just last year. I haven't been inside it, but I'm proud to see something like this in my country. This also by the seaside, easy for the people to see. This is inside that museum. Scientific pictures. This is also, we selected some of the Kuwaiti houses. You will see the traditional Kuwait cultural. This is an old house. Now it's become like a fashion. They take these old houses and they turn it to a nice restaurant. This one is one of Dar Hamid. Hamid, that's belonged to Al Hamid family. And this is their original house. Now it's one of the most beautiful restaurants over there. If you want to eat a good traditional Kuwaiti food, even myself, I go there. They should pay me for that. This is some of the food they are presented over there, and this is the restaurant from inside. This is something interesting. This is the Kuwaiti Symphony Orchestra. Of course, my wife, she's so happy to see this because she's a musician. So if you have a piano down here, she can. This is the theater. Sports. Due to limitation of the Kuwaiti population, they concentrate in some type of sport more than others. So they are really good in soccer. They are the champion of Asia. They participate in the World Cup 2 times. We have the swimmer, this lady, she's a good swimmer. And they are good in shooting. They are the champion of Asia also in shooting. And swimming also, they are good. So swimming, shooting, and soccer is considered the best. Of course, we have track and field, we have a volleyball, basketball, but not as good as these 3 type of sport. We selected some of the houses in Kuwait. These are this type of houses you see in Kuwait. And if you have noticed, they don't have big windows like you have in the United States because of the heat. See, the heat play a great role down here to design even the houses now. And these houses, by the way, is very high tech today. So one of them is my house, but I'm not going to tell you which one is mine. This is a scene from Kuwait. We love this area because it's very close to where we live. You feel like you are in Greek or something, but it's in Kuwait. This is another part of Souk Sharq. So this is all just to encourage you to go and visit Kuwait. This is the biggest mall in the whole Middle East, definitely, for sure. I mean, you need yourself to visit this mall. I think you need like 3 days in a row. You go just to finish all the stores over there. So whenever we get now a visitor, we take them to the Avenues. Avenues is the biggest mall now in Kuwait. This is about it. And let us go to show you for 7-8 minutes maximum, a small a movie. This is done by Kuwait Airways. So probably give you a better idea.
From our origins as pearl divers and Bedouin merchants, Kuwait has evolved into a dynamic, open, modern state. trade hub, a world leader in education, and a global champion of humanitarian relief efforts. A small country with a big heart. Join us as we show you another side to this place we're proud to call our home. Hundreds of years ago, in one of the earliest regions inhabited by man, several communities settled and thrived. Traders, craftsmen and fishermen living side by side, expertly harvesting riches from the land and sea. Working together, our leaders had a vision for something even greater, and the state of Kuwait was born. From these diverse and vibrant origins, Kuwait has grown and blossomed. Harnessing our roots to inspire a colourful and unique culture. A place where the modern and ancient live side by side. This is where the spirit of our pioneering ancestors burns brighter every day. As you fly into Kuwait, it's hard to imagine the start of that journey some 300 years ago, when this shimmering modern city was no more than tents along a sandy shore. But Kuwaitis believe that a proud story of progress means nothing without an exciting future. That's why a city has been built to truly stimulate your senses. With some of the region's most beautiful hotels, stunning restaurants that celebrate our unique position to fuse the best of Mediterranean, Arabian and Indian cuisine. And air-conditioned shopping malls that are home to the world's most glamorous and sought-after brands. Then step back in time to walk the shaded alleys of the souks. And although we take our title as the Pearl of the Gulf seriously, we certainly know how to have fun. Kuwait has the perfect mix of sports, relaxation, thrills, and adventure. As the national airline of this unique and inspiring place, Kuwait isn't just in our name, it's in our hearts. After all, we also grew from humble beginnings and a pioneering spirit. More than 60 years ago, at the dawn of commercial aviation, a small group of entrepreneurs had a vision for an airline connecting the Middle East to itself and the world. With our first fleet of 3 planes, Kuwait Airways took to the skies. Within 10 years, the fleet and the airline had stretched its wings, reaching as far as London. As aviation grew, so did we, always at the forefront of new technology, providing our gold standard maintenance services to over 100 other airlines, winning multiple awards along the way. Even conflict couldn't stop us flying. And today, we bring travelers from more global destinations than ever before. Now we're gearing up to tackle tomorrow's challenges with a gleaming new fleet of modern aircraft, an expansion of routes and frequencies, and soon to have a new home in the breathtaking, futuristic Kuwait International Airport. To visitors and residents alike, we're delighted to bring our exceptional food, renowned service, and passionate, dedicated staff to serve travellers more than ever before. Always with a very warm Kuwaiti welcome. It's easy to see why at Kuwait Airways we're so proud of our home. From the first man-made islands to the young men and women who risked their lives to bring gleaming pearls back from the deep. From our early roots sharing educational and healthcare knowledge with our neighbours in need, to the recent United Nations honouring of Sheikh Sabah Al-Ahmed Al-Jabbar Al-Sabah, our Emir, for his and the Kuwaiti people's contributions to easing suffering and poverty around the world. Kuwait may be small in size, but she has a big and compassionate heart. This program was proudly brought to you by Kuwait Airways.
Hopefully, it's going to be a good encouragement for you. To visit your second home, Kuwait. Anytime, and remember you need no visa to enter our country. So, do you have any questions? Yes, sir.
In terms of the population of the served are Kuwaiti, but there are distinctions among them, like say among the visitors or the guests that are 132 nations. Are you different ethnic, different type among the Kuwaitis?
Well, at the beginning, I think Kuwaitis, as any other societies, they face the problem of not accepting the people from outside, the outsiders. we call it. Later on, they adapted that. Now it's very formal to see all of these people. I mean, you cannot, if you move in the street, probably every 4 or 5 people, you see one Kuwaiti. And this situation, the 25%, is considered very good compared to the rest of the Gulf area, because it's very rich area. People are important. I'll give you an example. United Emirates. The population of United Emirates. The Emirates people represent 6.5% only. Qatar, for example, 12% only. So this has become like very common trend to see in the Gulf area. It's easy to adapt. But socially, see, people people, they can change economically easily. I mean, I can move from a traditional dishwasher to a nice suit, no problem. But still inside me, still the Kuwaiti guy. Economically, you can move faster than the movement of social life. That's very common things. But today, I don't see its problem. It's easy to adapt to the foreign the society. Any other questions? Yes.
Question. You said that Kuwait has your industry has just deployed. Do you have any industry like automobile or something else?
No.
Nothing?
Honestly, with this type of population, you don't need to open the door for the industrial business. But they are good investors. They invest even in the United States. They are one of the big investors in New York and Miami or Kuwait and California. You can imagine. So they know how, from the beginning, they are very good in that. They know how to use their money. So they use their money here and there, and they can make today more than 10, 12% of their revenues, the income to Kuwait from the investing outside. It's better than building. It's easy for us to import a good car than to build them up. If you don't have a population, you don't move to that side of the industry.
What's the average of life in your country? I mean, everybody has a well life in your country. However, maybe some of them don't like to work because they support from the government financially.
Well, everybody is covered. For example, you don't see homeless in Kuwait. You don't see people asking for the money in the road. You don't see you will be surprised if you see Kuwaiti say, I'm poor. But poor, he's comparing to the standard of Kuwait. Like he can make 30,000 a year, and he considers himself a poor. This is it's a very high standard to it. So that's why, I mean, poor, even I remember when I was studying in the United States, we consider students as a poor because they don't live well. They have to borrow money to, so they don't live well, they don't eat good, they don't wear nice clothes. No, the scene is different now. Of course, we're talking about the 80s. During Reagan's term, in the 80s, when he took office in January 80s, after Carson. Consider the student sector are poor in the United States, but because the way they live is poor. They are not poor, of course, but the way they live is considered. So it's the same in Kuwait. I mean, Kuwaitis, I'm saying if they make 25, 30,000 a year, they consider themselves poor because they have to buy furniture, buy a nice car, buy nice clothes, they're traveling around. So it has, there's no, what we
The
call
level
this.
of life is moderate, right? I mean, everybody has a very comfortable life.
Yes, among Kuwaitis, yes. Among Kuwaitis, I think, according to our studies, consider that's correct. Easier, I can say that. Comfortably, I can say, yes, we don't have poor. I mean, with 1 million. Yeah. And Fairfax, probably in this area, you have more than 3 million where we live down here. So it's easy to control 1 million people. It's a small relation. It's easy to. If that answers your question. Yes.
Can the foreigners become permanent citizens of Kuwait, or are they encouraged to return to their homes with their work when it's finished?
Well, this is a good question and very embarrassing question. Because one of the most difficult things in Kuwait to give a foreign citizenship. It doesn't happen unless under different circumstances. Unless you do something unusual to Kuwait and live you and your family in Kuwait to give you. I think because of the privilege they get from the system, that's why. And they want to protect the wealth among their people. It's a very selfish idea, but it's very difficult. It's very rare to give non-Kuwaitis facility.
What happens when a baby's born overseas?
If he's Egyptian,
Right.
follow his father's nationality. He cannot be Kuwaiti. This is one of the problems. Even though they are underpopulation, but they are not open. They never open this door. So I think the idea is just to protect the world among the Kuwaitis. There is no other explanation. I'm sorry to say that, but this is the honest. Yes, ma'am.
So in terms of the population, is it growing, shrinking, about the same?
Growing. Yes. Okay. It's a growing, but it's very small. It's growing 4 point something percent. It's considered high also. Yes.
Since there's been like a global movement towards sustainable energy, is that a problem for Kuwait with 90% of their oil?
Oh, they have no problem with the energy because of the oil.
Right.
But still, they are very good in adopting new alternative energies. This area, they are very active. Now, if you go to Kuwait, you will see not factories, small factories, you can see also houses run by alternative energies. So it's good. I mean, despite the point that they have a lot of oil, but still they can adopt new ideas. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, in connection with that, what would you regard as some of your environmental challenges in Kuwait? For example, coastal sea rise or, yeah.
I think the pollution is one of the most challenging issues because dealing with tankers that come to pick up oil that going to destroy a lot of things. Using the environment that heavy, that fast, also is affecting the things. I think this is the most challenging one is the pollution. So it's very high, but there are a lot of studies and they put a lot of money to adapt new system to clear out the environment.
So is that air pollution and water pollution?
Both. Yes.
They have winds that take the air pollution up.
We do have a good winds. As a matter of fact, consider our area is a windy area. If you look at the location of Kuwait, the north sector of Kuwait is very windy and it's considered it's windy area. So that will help a little bit and take the whole pollution to the Gulf and to move it to that side. Yeah.
Share.
It's the same. It's the same what you have down here. It's, all the pollution moves to Canada sometimes. So we. But I mean, Kuwait is a small area. It's not that big. Yani, if you just to give you an idea, Iran as a land is about 45 times Kuwait. Just to give you an idea. So I look at Kuwait as a small point in the map, and Iran by itself, not the Iraq, not Saudi Arabia. So we are just teeny people just in the middle of that. Just small point. That's Kuwait. And maybe 8,000 miles square is nothing. I mean, in 2 hours you can go from border to border. That's the maximum. Even the airline, they have difficulty landing and take off from Kuwait. As soon as you take off, you are in Bahrain. You are in So it's not. Yes, ma'am.
About the absence of women in the political life, is it like because women are not that active politically, or is it like because people don't vote for women, or
Tell me about it. They are very high.
seems like
Our ladies, they are very active. But they moved to the political sector in the last like 14 years. So it's considered for them it's a short period of experience with the parliament problems. Besides, this is why I have to be honest when I transfer information to you. Still, people trust men in this business than women. They don't have a good experience with ladies. We elected how many? 4 or 5? 5 ladies. 2 or 3 of them, they failed to deliver the people's needs, or the people can imagine that. I'm not good in politics. I don't know how it works, but from what I see, from what I through my discussion with people, they trust men over women, something like that. By the way, this is around the world. It's not only true. And we encourage them heavily, by the way. The government sit beside them to help them to get in. And still they are not doing this because they're experienced. They don't have a good experience. And because of the culture also. You know our relationship with men and women are still different. Yes. Yes, sir.
So you talked about population growing and having a lot of foreigners. So it's a relatively long or small land area. So are there concerns about overcrowding eventually?
Sir. Let me give you this fact. One of the most expensive things you can think of in Kuwait is land. And let me give you an example. The foot square in downtown area in Kuwait more expensive than Manhattan in New York or Tokyo, Japan. So you can imagine how expensive. I mean, the smallest house in Kuwait, in a nice area, I mean, mid-sized house, mid-age house, it's worth like $2 million. So you're talking about the land. And that's why housing is important to be supported by the government. Because if you leave it for the people, they won't be able to buy land. So that's why the government provide the lands and give you some money to build buildings. Building is the easiest part, but the land is the most expensive. That's why. And some of them, they don't live comfortable because of this. Yes.
Is like expenses high? Like you can see like all the fancy houses and fancy restaurants and all of that. Like, does it cost a lot to live in Kuwait?
Yes, ma'am. It is very expensive. I mean, me and my wife comparing living in the United States, we saving money. I can take that. Yes, ma'am.
Is there any agriculture in the country?
Oh, no, it's very poor area. It's supported also by the government, and we have an area they call Al-Wafra. They can provide a lot of vegetables and some fruits, not everything. I mean to have, one of my friends in last visit to Kuwait last summer, he took me to area, he built it himself with the greenhouse. It's very expensive greenhouse, very expensive irrigation system. To have a couple apples. And he was so excited, and he took thousands of pictures of these 2 apples. So you can imagine how difficult it is to grow fruit. But vegetables is there. It's there. As a matter of fact, it's very cheap also, because it has some support from the government. The questions? Yes, ma'am.
What do you think might be, you spoke in terms of maybe there being a negative effect of no tax?
I didn't get your question.
You spoke in terms of a drawback or a negative aspect of having no tax.
Oh yeah, this is a different story. I mean, to me, in short, I don't want to make a long story, because this has something to do with the social policy. No taxes does mean you will limit the people's chance to design their government. Like I have all of your money, and I decide what to give you for clothes and housing and health and blah, 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 blah. But people, they know nothing. But to me, I will make people suffer and understand and participate, and will be better citizens. Not to cut them off and say, well, this is their money, by the way. And even the oil revenue, this is their money. So, otherwise they use it themselves. Why you give it to somebody else to decide for? So you cut off the people, you cut the chance of the people to participate in their life. I believe in people's participation. Give them more chance to participate. Then let them make a bad decision, poor decision, they will reach the good decision. But if you prevent them from making decisions, this is a problem.
You can see how messy it is in this country. Messy.
Well,
Letting people decide. Yeah.
But still, I feel that the other day we had a long discussion about these things. Still, I believe that when you, like your kids, let us give an example of our kids. If you provide everything for our kids, honestly, we prevent them from having the chance to know what's the real life. Suffering is part of our living. Suffering is part of our understanding. Suffering is something very important. Now, if you want to go to the gym, you have to challenge your muscles. You put pressure over your muscles to grow that muscle, to strengthen that muscles. And I think personality is the same thing. You have to challenge your personality. You have to suffer. You have to see how the other people live. You have to do a comparative study to understand what's life. Now you understand. This is one of the techniques. But at the end, you have experience, we have another experience. Let us put them together and see how it's working. Okay, yes.
Can you share a little bit about the non-Kuwaiti people who come to work, what their lifestyles are, what limitations, or why would you come to work at Kuwait if you don't have the same chances? No.
Well, they come to Kuwait because they get paid very good. This is one of the reasons. As a matter of fact, in their countries, most of these Asian people, I haven't seen it in the European, but most of the Middle East, Asian, they have an offices over their countries. They paid money to get a visa to come to work in Kuwait because they make a good money. But some of them, they come with low education, low, experience, and they have much, to offer. So their salaries is very low. And some of them, they're making millions about it. Yeah, especially people who's working in constructions and stock market, they make good money. Yeah, if you have a visa to Kuwait, or any of these, except Saudi Arabia, you don't make much money. Because they have big land and they have, how much they have, like about 17, today they have more than 37 million Saudis. So, no. But Oman also is not. But I consider United Arab Emirates, Qatar, not Bahrain even, and Kuwait. These are the three areas in the GCC that you can make some money. They make a good money, and they send it to. Let me give you an example. Every year, these Asian people who come with no experience, with no education, with nothing, they transfer 4 billion Kuwaiti dinar. So that's we're talking about close to $15 billion every year to their countries. So you can imagine how much money is coming. They make good money, honestly. So, but some of them, they live like, we call it like a pig, because they live in a small area. It's not healthy sometimes. They don't go to a nice restaurant or court because they come to this land to make money, not to spend money. This is also another problem we have back home. We pay money, but it doesn't go inside the country. It goes outside the country. Any other questions? I'm hoping that our presentation just give you a small idea about Kuwait. And the second thing is, I hope that our presentation encourage you to think of visiting Kuwait. Yes.
Last question.
Yes,
That's
yes.
possible. If students were to travel to Kuwait, how would they first go about it, and how can I help our students travel there?
Oh, yeah. We have exchange, we have a program for exchange professors, exchange students. And as a matter of fact, a couple of weeks ago, I was talking to Kuwait University, and I told them if they could give us 5, 6 students to come and visit the United States. And at the same time, you can apply like to any of these institutes. You need support, right? You need financial support, or you want to use your own.
Well, yeah, if it's available.
Yeah, because we do. Yeah, for example, we have a dorm inside Kuwait University. We have small guest houses. We can support you with some money sometimes. We can exchange visitor. You go there, like say my situation. You go and give like lecture over there or give whatever. We do have a lot of activities, especially at Kuwait University. I know most. I'm sure there are some other sectors I'm not aware of. They can support you with money, with some facilities to come. So I think it's easy. It's not something difficult to do.
I haven't thought of this. There's a conference, I think a social work conference in March.
In March.
In March, and so we would be trying to go there perhaps next year, since we were in Cuba this March. So we can talk about that. Dr. Alexander is going to be with us through the calendar year.
Yeah, so we will be together if you want to apply for a visit, just to specify what you wanna, why you wanna go there, like what you wanna do, what's your program, normal things. Or to attend the conference. You will enjoy the conference because you collect people from all over. And for 3 days, and normally they reserve a very beautiful, nice hotel by the seaside, so you will really enjoy the Kuwait. And March, it's a good weather also in Kuwait. So, but April will be too hot for you. So don't make this mistake. Yeah, hopefully. I mean, this is the idea of exchange professors, and that's why we are here down here today. And we will be around you, and we heavily encourage you to try to visit Kuwait. It's a very welcome area, so you will enjoy it tremendously. Okay. Any questions? I would like to thank you so much.